Welcome to the YouTube Creators Hub podcast, where we help you conquer the internet one video at a time. We cover everything from how to start a YouTube channel to how to make a video go viral. And now, here's your host, the one and only Dusty Porter.
Hello and welcome to episode 346 of the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. My name's Dusty Porter, the host of this wonderful show, where each and every Friday I interview a wonderful YouTube creator and I talk with them about the ins and outs of their channel, how they've succeeded on the platform, and just different bits of advice and maybe failures they've had along the way. So if that sounds interesting to you or something that may be of benefit to you along your journey, definitely stick around. You can subscribe to the show wherever you consume your podcast. It's absolutely free. And we go live with a new episode every single Friday morning. So you'll have that in your feed to look forward to. You can support us by checking out our sponsor for today's episode, which is TubeBuddy, the one tool that I recommend all YouTube creators try at least once, and you can get a free 30-day trial, a free month of using everything TubeBuddy has to offer, including everything they release down the road, including their AI features coming down the pipeline, their new Shorts suggestion feature. They always are working on something interesting to help you as the creator, so check them out if you haven't already. Also, you can support us over on patreon.com/DustyPorter. We have really beefed up this offering. Not only do you get access to our private Discord server where you can post your videos, post your channel, ask questions in a community of almost 100 strong creators right now. If you support us at the appropriate tier, you will get access to our mastermind group, where we hop on a Zoom call every month and we just bounce ideas off of each other. The one for March just happened a little over a week ago, and it was one of the most amazing things I've done as a creator, getting on there with some amazing folks who are doing some really awesome things on the platform, and you just get to ask questions and bounce ideas off of each other. It's just a great curated experience. Gives you a way to support us. And then I also offer personal coaching and consultations. All of that will be in the show notes. So definitely go check any of those things that may sound intriguing to you out before you hop off this podcast episode. Don't forget, if you haven't already, to leave us a review. That would really be very, very helpful. But if you're looking to either start, grow, or monetize your YouTube channel, this is the podcast for you. We have over 335 old interviews that I think can still be valuable to you. So if you're just now hopping on the show and you've just now found us, go back, listen to some of those old episodes. You can even daisy pick some of the ones that you want to find the creators that maybe you think would relate to you more. But I recommend going back to some of those older episodes and really diving in, because there are some great nuggets of information for creators on all of those episodes. So with all of that said, I'm going to give a shout out to this week's patrons. We have Fitness with Animal, Mariella M, Ron D, Will W, Joe O, Chase Shelby with Drone Buddy, Anita Wong with Anita Wong over on YouTube, Valerie T, Andrew R, and a new patron this week, Darson G. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. Let's go ahead and hop into this week's conversation. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the YouTube Creators Hub podcast, the conversation side of the episode. Today, I'm joined by Levi Lascsak, who released his first YouTube video on December 5th, 2020, as a brand new real estate agent. He had not sold a home in 2020 or the first quarter of 2021. Levi partnered with Travis Plumb, and they closed their first two transactions from the channel in April 2021. In the last 9 months of 2021, their first full year in real estate, they closed 64 transactions, $33.5 million in volume, and just over $1 million in commissions. In their second year, 2022, they closed 154 transactions, $86.2 million in volume, and $2.3 million in commissions. Wow. All organic and zero ad spend. That's important. They now own the fastest growing and most viewed real estate YouTube channel in Dallas, Texas, and generate 3 to 5 inbound leads per day. Now, there's a lot about that I want to break down, but Levi, first, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing great, Dusty, and I'm just excited to be on the show with the guy with the best podcast voice in the business.
Well, I'll pay you later. I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. I really do try to uphold that title for sure. But I want to ask you, so a couple of things first, though, before I got a couple of bullet points that I jotted down here when reading through this and kind of looking through your stuff. But I want to ask you this. we did a little bit of kind of explaining how the channel came to be in that intro, but you give us the in-depth, the nitty-gritty look of kind of how the channel came to be. And the channel name, for those wondering, is Passive Prospecting YouTube for Real Estate. So tell us the origin story of the channel.
Well, that's actually our secondary channel. So the one you read the bio about is our Living in Dallas, Texas channel.
Okay, awesome.
And so we started the Living in Dallas, Texas channel first. And what happened was I had a very successful financial services business over the last 5 years up until 2020. So I worked with all the teachers. I had contracts with Dallas ISD, and I helped the teachers with retirement planning. So the great thing about that is I had a teacher's schedule, but I had 5 times the teacher's income. So I worked about 8 months of the year, and then I traveled the rest. And I went to 24 countries inside of 3 to 4 years. I was having a great time. I was very comfortable. And then, of course, around April, the world shut down. So my travel schedule completely stopped. And then going to schools and meeting with teachers completely stopped. And I did not have any clue when life would resume. I didn't know would schools open back up if ever. I mean, it was just such uncertain times. And so over the summer of 2020, instead of watching Tiger King, I just decided to do research and figure out what's going to be my next move. And I've got several very successful friends in real estate, and they've been trying to get me into real estate for a very long time, but I never wanted to be a real estate agent. So over the summer of 2020, I spent the next 5 months investing in various different things and buying courses and mentorships and trying to figure out where do I make the next move? Because I was also 41 years old, and I was asking myself, how do I start over without starting over? I was in a little bit of a slump for a minute because I thought, man, how could this happen to me at 41 years old? And so I was really concerned about making a career shift or doing something starting, from scratch. But I knew I had to ask myself very difficult questions. How did I get here? What am I doing wrong? And what am I going to change moving forward so I don't get in this position again? And what I meant by that was getting shut down by outside forces. So whether that's the world shuts down or travel shuts down. Before I had overcome a major illness, and that took me out for a long time. And then also I spent time in the military. And when I got deployed, that took me out of the picture. So anytime I left the picture, my business stopped. And that's something that I didn't want to do going forward. So I thought, well, I don't want to be a real estate agent because I know what the typical real estate agent happens. They get caught up in a transitional or transactional business, and then they never retire because they're always trying to chase the next deal. So I thought, how could I attract business? Is there a way that I could bring it to me and then also find a gap in the market? Because I didn't really want to compete with all the real estate agents in Dallas, especially the ones that have been in business for the last 10, 15, 20 years. And so I thought, how can I find a little gap in the market that maybe I could, slip my way into, not necessarily compete with everybody, but kind of do my own thing and attract business. And so I figured that would be through social media, but which platform? I also didn't want to get started on every platform because I think a lot of people make that mistake and they spread themselves too thin, and then they end up putting 20% effort across 5 different platforms. And so I wanted to choose one. Well, most people were talking about Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And I looked at those platforms, but they didn't really sit well with my personality. I didn't really see myself fitting in there. And then I started to look at YouTube. It was my last choice, but I bought a couple of marketing books. One of them was YouTube Secrets, and that one just kind of helped me understand the fundamentals and principles of the platform. And it also helped me understand that YouTube's a search engine versus a social media platform. And so I started thinking, well, if I could make content around what people are searching for, then maybe I can actually attract business. But what are people searching for? And as I started to dig into that and just research more and more, I started to understand that people are researching suburbs and neighborhoods of Dallas. And I thought, okay, maybe if I could focus on that, because the last thing I was a great real estate agent, right? I had never transacted on a home as a real estate agent. So I thought, but I've been in Dallas for 20 years. I can talk about Dallas. I know the suburbs. I know the neighborhoods. I know the areas. And I thought maybe if I can start creating content around that, and that's what people are looking for, maybe I can get some people to, that will want me to work with them or help them out and attract that business. And so that's how it all kind of started, was just from the fact that I had to make a change and a shift. Wasn't sure how, but I also did not want to get caught up into chasing business. So that's what stemmed into passive prospecting. Was once I started to develop this and create videos about Dallas and people started to call me, what I realized was that I was creating video content once and it was going to work for me. It was starting to prospect for me. So then I didn't get caught up in cold calling and door knocking and trying to buy expensive postcard campaigns and advertising in magazines, which is what most typical real estate agents and actually most business owners, tend to do, is they start paying for advertising. I also had a very low budget, which was no budget. And so this was able to allow me to create videos on YouTube and start to build that out. And then that's how it started to grow from there. And once I realized this concept on passive prospecting, then we started to develop that and monetize that in a way to help other business owners do that. We actually just came out with the book. We just released actually last week, the book, Passive Prospecting. So we put this together as well, and we talk about those concepts of how you can create video on YouTube. And for someone like myself, I'm not trying to necessarily monetize through YouTube's ads or through affiliates or anything like that. I've got real estate where I can attract clients, take them off platform, work with them on the service I offer, and the commissions are much bigger in the real estate business, and this applies to the same as if you're a mortgage broker or a financial advisor, or if you're even an electrician or a plumber and you're tired of chasing people down. If you create videos around that, your ideal clients will see those videos, consume that content, and whenever they're ready for your product or service, they'll reach out to you, and you have a much bigger opportunity, in my opinion, to monetize off platform than you do on platform. Now, I do believe you can create very lucrative earning capabilities through YouTube, but that usually takes a long time to build up. And this is an opportunity to really turn over some business quickly.
Yeah. So it's interesting, your form of monetization on YouTube is completely different than a lot of people or how they think you should monetize on YouTube. I mean, obviously the YouTube partner program is great and it's making a lot of people a lot of money, like you said there at the very end, but explain your business model. You're not the normal transactional. My parents are both real estate agents. They have been for over almost, I don't really know exact numbers now, but over a decade and a half, probably longer. My mom has, and then my dad got laid off from AT&T, and then he got his real estate license. I actually had my license for a short while. So I do understand that kind of market a little bit just by nature of being in the family. So with that being the case, I'm very intrigued. How are you monetizing from YouTube? So let's take it back to YouTube. How are you taking the YouTube channel and your videos, getting those 3 to 5 inbound leads per day, and how are you making money on that?
Well, we talk about that in the book, actually, is the fact that structuring your videos the proper way. So we talk about, an intro, or a hook, an intro, a call to action, the body of the video, and then a conclusion, a wrap up, and an additional call to action. And it's really that simple. So I don't really say, hey, I'm a real estate agent. I'm here to help you buy, sell, or invest. I will say something very simply like, my name's Levi. And if you want to learn everything there is about living in Dallas, Texas, make sure you subscribe and tap the bell for notifications so you're the first to learn about the current market in Dallas. And by the way, if you're looking to move in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. Happy to help you make a smooth move to Dallas. So just something that simple is what gets people to call us. And so it's adding that into the videos, because we could do informational videos on Dallas all day long, but if you want business, you have to ask for it, in my opinion. I've always done much better whenever I asked for the business or asked for the sell or asked somebody to make a commitment. And so that's the way to do it in video, but I don't oversell it. I don't sit there and say, give this big long intro of like, I'm the greatest real estate agent. Well, first of all, I wasn't the greatest agent, so I couldn't say that in the first place. So I just position myself as an expert of the area, and that got people comfortable with me. Plus, they just understood that they figured I was a real estate agent. Now, it kind of says that in my description, and we also have calls to action in the description. So if somebody goes in there, they'll read the description, they'll see our links we have in there. But then also it's like, hey, if you're thinking about making a move, here's our contact information. We pin that contact information in our comment. So it's our primary comment as well. So if anybody if they never open our description, they'll see it as the first comment, and they don't likely have to scroll on that video to be able to see our contact information. On top of that, we have it on our banner, which our banner says, thinking of moving, let's chat. And we have a link to a Zoom call. So all of those different areas, we have it in our about section. So we place that throughout the channel, but then also have that call to action in our videos. And here's the key thing. On the banner, most people I see, including real estate agents, will link all their social medias on there. Instagram, Facebook, they'll say, follow me on these platforms. In my opinion, we only provide links to get people to call us or schedule a Zoom, because if we don't want to take them off platform unless they're reaching out to us. We would rather them stay on YouTube consuming more YouTube content, and because we know the longer they stay on our channel, the more long form content they're going to consume, and the more they're going to develop a relationship with us. If we distract them and send them to Instagram and TikTok, they're probably going to end up just watching cat videos. So, we don't want to take them off platform unless it's to reach out to us. So we have a very specific funnels, you could say, on the channel that we've built in on the banner, in the description, in the comments, and in the videos themselves.
And you mentioned, the difference in like transactional revenue from real estate and just kind of the referring out. How are you making the majority of your income once you get those leads? How are you closing those? Are you referring them out and then getting that nice passive income by having someone else do the work? Because I know with my parents being in real estate, they oftentimes tell me, early on when they were looking for leads, they had folks kind of refer them commercial leads and then vice versa. Yep. So how are you making money once you get those folks and you capture them from the YouTube side of things? And by the way, I love that you mentioned about keeping them on site, like keeping them in your YouTube ecosystem or on your website. And I am a real big proponent of the calling or setting up a meeting, because I found that if you can get like what we are doing now, not necessarily face-to-face in person, but like a digital face-to-face, you have a much higher chance of landing that lead, whether it be a coaching call like what I like to do, or whether it be a real estate transaction or referral like what you do.
Yeah, and so that's a key point too, because we give them 4 ways to contact us: Zoom, text, email, or phone call. And the funny thing is we get about 25% across the board. We get about 25% Zoom calls, 25% text, 25% email, 25% phone calls. But that tells us a lot about our client and their primary way they're comfortable with communicating with us as well. So if it's a texter, then we're probably going to, once we establish contact, our goal is to establish face-to-face, at least on Zoom, as quickly as possible or over the phone. But from there, we may continue that conversation over text. If it's email, it could be email. If it's phone calls, maybe that person wants to call us because they could be an auditory learner. Texters and emailers are readers and writers. Zoom people are probably kinesthetic style learners. So it really tells us a lot about the client and how they communicate. And I think that helps us further that relationship even more. So the other aspect of your question, which was, remind me again real quick, which was
about
the passive side.
Yes.
Yeah. So the funny thing is that I had full intention, moving into this to do everything myself, which again is not what I recommend for anybody. But I happened to meet Travis Plumb at the right time. And we started to work together in the beginning. Now, the funny thing was that I was creating all the content. I was building out these kind of systems in the back end, how I figured all this would happen. Well, we started to get phone calls. I met Travis at that exact time. Well, he did not like making videos. He was scared of the camera. And so he was like, look, but he goes, I will show anybody a house. I will close any deal. I will negotiate. He's like a master salesperson, right? He loves that aspect of it. So when the first clients started coming in, I just immediately passed them to Travis, and he took them out. He showed them homes. He wrote the contracts and he closed the deals, and we split that. And so from there, he started to do that so effectively that we worked together over the next 6 months. I never had to actually go out and do the traditional real estate side of it, which was open doors, run comps, do CMAs, turn on all the lights, run people around through 8 or 9 houses. And so that's the way now I just get a referral fee, is what it technically is a referral fee on every single deal that I generate. And that could be anywhere from 25 to 50%. And so you talk about last year, 154 transactions just from our YouTube channel. I did not open a single door for any one of those, but I got paid on every single one of those transactions. So this has immediately turned into, I don't want to say passive, because I still have to create the content and I'm very involved on the marketing aspect of the business. So, I do the work. I'm just doing a different form of the work. But the reality is that this is what I love to do, even though I had never really made videos before. I had always done in-person selling, but that was one of the things I figured out whenever I moved into the business was I didn't want to do face-to-face one-on-one selling anymore. And so now I'm able to make one video, and that one video is able to be seen by 1,000, 10,000, or 50,000 people. For me, that's a better way to sell, because now I'm having my conversation that I want to have with a camera instead of a person, and then that video goes out there and passively prospects for us. And now the business is so much that it even overwhelmed Travis. So we had to start a small team. And so we have a team of agents now that we refer those deals to, and we get a cut from that as well.
Right.
And so now, we've got a full-blown business here. And, Travis has never had to he's made some videos now because he wanted to, but he's never had to prospect. He's never had to go out and knock doors and meet people at Starbucks and cold call, because the business was just handed to him from me, from the videos I created. So we have a very symbiotic relationship, and it works very well because he's never had to prospect. I've never had to open a door. And so we have our both sides of our business that works very well for us.
And it's interesting for those of you who know much about the real estate market, depending on the housing market, the season that it is, the prospecting and getting leads at times can be the most difficult part of the whole transaction, because, the way houses are selling right now and have been the past year and a half to 2 years, it's been a seller's market, because people, especially here near the Atlanta, Georgia area, it's one of the things where, I have a house that my wife and I bought over 10 years ago, and my mom told me a couple days ago, you could get an astronomical amount for the house that we live in, and we bought it on a downturn. So, but the problem is, if you sell it, you're probably not going to have anywhere to go for that same amount of money. So, understanding the market and understanding that getting those leads is difficult, and you're doing it via YouTube, and I love that. And so now I want to ask you about the YouTube side of things. Give my audience some pointers of things that you've learned along the way. Because I'm looking at all of your channels now, the Living in Dallas, Texas is very popular. And you are niching down to a very small audience, but it seems to me you have a great community there. So talk about the YouTube side of things and how you grew the channel so quickly. Now almost 22,000 subscribers, over almost 350 videos. You've got a great community. You're getting a lot of attention, not to mention great results from the leads coming from the channel. So what are some pointers and tips and strategy things that you can tell my audience about growing a YouTube channel?
Oh man, so many, but I would say, they say content is king, but consistency is queen. So if you divide the number of videos out over the last couple of years, I've stayed very consistent at 3 videos a week. So that was something that coming into it, I did research. So that was the funny thing. Over the summer of 2020, instead of just starting up YouTube, I researched the platform for about 60 days. And I love to say that you can hyperlearn any subject in 60 days, because there's enough information out there on any subject right now. If you sat down instead of watching Netflix and just, watched YouTube videos, bought books, read some blogs, did some Google searches, I think you could become a master at almost anything in 60 days if you put everything into it. And so that's what I did during YouTube during the summer of 2020 when everything was shut down. And so once I did that, I understood so much more about starting a channel than just trying to start one blind. So number one, it was, okay, understanding, and I wrote out a business plan. So also make a plan, not to the point where you get analysis paralysis, but to where you have a starting point. I didn't question what I was doing for the first 3 to 4 months, because I basically built a business plan, which was, how many videos do I want to shoot on a weekly basis? When do I want to shoot them? When do I want to publish them? What type of videos do I want to make? So I did all the research topics. I came across TubeBuddy, and found that because I started watching these channels like, Daryl Eves and Nick Nimmin and all these guys that were using that. And so I was like, okay, well, TubeBuddy sounds cool. I'll get that, So then I started to research and figure out which suburbs and which areas in my city are searched the most. And so I started making content around those areas versus just blindly making content around areas that I thought would be kind of cool or maybe had a lot of searches but didn't. So I just let the data kind of drive me in the beginning, because I believe when you start out, if you understand your market and your demographic and the client you are, trying to target with this, then you can optimize for the algorithm in the beginning, but then you optimize for the audience as you grow an audience. Because when you start out, you have no audience, but there's an audience out there for your product or service, but you have to understand what videos to make that they're already searching for. And that's what I love about TubeBuddy, is because it told me exactly which suburbs, which neighborhoods had the most demand. And so whenever I made content around that, that's why I was able to grow so quickly organically, is because I didn't guess. I said, oh, well, Frisco, Texas or Plano, Texas are the two most popular suburbs being searched on YouTube. So let me make content around those two areas first, and then I'll branch down and start to build from there. And then on top of that, staying consistent. So many people come in here and, they get all excited. They make their first video and they publish it, and then they don't have anything backed up. And so if life happens, health happens, or family happens, and then you don't make a video for 2 or 3 weeks, I think that'll kill your channel quicker than anything. So I filmed a month's worth of content first before I even started the channel. I knew I wanted to do 3 videos a week. So I filmed 12 videos before ever publishing the first one. So that way, as soon as I published the first one, I was already scheduled out for the next month. And guess what that did? That relieved some pressure, right? I didn't feel the pressure to go out and create a video tomorrow. I was able to stay in cadence, to stay in rhythm, to start creating the next month's worth of content. And by the time that 12th video published, guess what? I had already made the next 12 videos. And so I tried to stay a month ahead on my content so that if anything came up, and which it does, life does happen, but if you get thrown off for a day or two or a week, and you're living, video to video, kind of like paycheck to paycheck, then you could find yourself in a trouble of not staying consistent. So these are things that I just understood because I took the time to research up front. So I think, developing a plan, knowing which videos you want to shoot, how often do you want to publish, scheduling that out for a month in advance, and then, understanding thumbnails and titles as well. And so how do you want to design your thumbnail? What is it, what do you want it to look like? Kind of start establishing your brand or your look from there, and, doing some A/B testing. All those types of things really just, will get you started off on the right track. And as you study that, you'll understand a lot more. And then, like now, the last video I made that's doing really well on the channel, I didn't research that. I didn't look anything up in TubeBuddy. That was because I now know my audience, and I know what they will respond to, and I know what the market is demanding based on all these changes that are going on as well. And so I knew this was likely, not a guarantee, but I knew this was likely going to be a good video to put out at this time. And sure enough, and it's almost at 2,000 views in the first day, which is great for us. And here's the other aspect of it, is that I'm not going for vanity metrics. We hit 1 million in commissions when we had 5,000 subscribers.
Right. And so that's a powerful thing.
Yeah.
That's really powerful, because a YouTube channel can serve so many purposes. Yes, if you're an entertainment channel, you want to get those numbers up there. You want to have big subscriber numbers,
Yep.
big viewer numbers. But listen, if you're a dentist, a doctor, a real estate agent, if you're a laborer out there trying to grow your local tree company, whatever it may be, YouTube can be used to do that in astronomical ways if you know how to utilize tools like TubeBuddy. Obviously, they're a sponsor of the show, disclaimer, right? But with that being said, if you know how to utilize the tools and utilize keywords and utilize titles and thumbnails and put it all together, and I want you to, as we close out this interview, there's so much good stuff that you said there, but the one thing that I wrote down was this. You said you have to first target the algorithm, and then you need to target your audience. Expound on that just a bit and let my audience know a little bit about what you mean by that.
Yes, absolutely. I like to say you optimize for the algorithm,
Yes.
then you optimize for the audience. So that's kind of the big thing, right? In TubeBuddy, when you get back in the back end, it's like optimization, right? Optimization is very important. This is another aspect of YouTube. If YouTube gives you a blank fill it in. I think a lot of people will publish a video and not fill in the blanks during the upload process. Right. That could be as simple as even video location, which is very important for us in real estate, because we can put the neighborhood in the video location, and that makes it a lot more searchable for YouTube. And the thing is all those blanks, when you're uploading a video that YouTube has provided for you, you know what that does? That communicates to the algorithm. And so the algorithm, all that is reading words and letters. And so you have to spell out what your video is about, in the description, in the tags, in the title, in the video location, in the other areas that it allows you to do that. Because when somebody searches Dallas, Texas, you want YouTube to say, oh, well, here's this video. I mean, it's got a video location in Dallas. It's got a description about Dallas. It's got tags about Dallas. This is probably a good video to recommend. And on top of that, optimizing for the algorithm is doing it that way, but then also finding the search volume for the subjects you want to cover. And so I never in the beginning made a video that I wanted to make. I made videos that the audience was already searching for, or at least the topics that I knew they were searching for. And so that's what allowed me to gain the growth very quickly. And now that the algorithm is established, right? I optimized in the beginning. Now I make videos for the audience, which because now we've closed so many deals, right? I read all the comments, we get phone calls, we have conversations, we interact with our clients every single day. That gives me the sense of them, who they are, what are they looking for? And so now I know them very intimately. And so now I can make videos like I usually do now, which is, I think this is going to be a good video based on the feeling of the market, right? The feeling of our clients, that type of situation. So I don't have to research the search volume. I don't have to look into, I just understand that we still optimize on the back end to make sure all the blanks are filled in, but that's how we optimize for the algorithm in the beginning, and then optimize for the audience once we have established an audience.
And I told you we were closing, but I have one more question for you.
Sure.
What are you doing branding wise? Because you've obviously taken all the information you've gained from the books you've read and all of that studying you did early on, whether it be watching YouTube videos or I call it YouTube University, whatever you want to call it. You have great thumbnails, great clickable titles, a great brand around your channel. What are some just quick kind of hard-hitting points you can give for people trying to brand their channels the right way so they look the part when people come to either subscribe or consume their content? Because as a real estate agent and in real estate, it has to look somewhat professional. And so you have a nice headshot, you have a nice banner, you have great streamlined thumbnails. Explain a couple of those things.
Yeah, so I think the banner really communicates a lot, and what a lot of real estate agents will do, even small business owners, like a real estate agents, we didn't put Levi and Travis, real estate agents, call us to buy, sell, or invest. You notice you don't see that on the banner. You don't see our phone number on the banner. You see right smack dab in the middle, subscribe to learn about living in Dallas, Texas. Right. So we're going after the researchers, right? We're going for people that are looking for information, and we want to lead with value first, which is, hey, if you want to learn about living in Dallas, Texas, this is the channel for you. Nobody knows who Levi and Travis are. Nobody knows us, right? And so if we would have named the channel Levi and Travis's home selling team, that's not searchable. Nobody's looking for that information. So we also decided to name our channel Living in Dallas, Texas, because that was a top search term. And we built our team around that. And now we have the Living in Dallas, Texas team. Plus, what this does for me as a business owner is this makes it a sellable asset for me as well, because now it's not tied to Levi Lascsak. And I've incorporated other team members on the channel making videos. The team name is named Living in Dallas, Texas. The channel is named that. So I could transfer that ownership down the road if I ever want to make an exit from this business. And that's the same thing if you're a plumber, electrician, financial advisor, it doesn't matter. You want to think about that. When you put your name on a business, then your name is going to be associated with that. Now, whether that becomes sellable down the road, that depends on your business model and how it's structured. But in real estate, I know it's a lot easier to sell a team that is branded, differently than just the name, because most agents name their teams their name. They're like Levi Lascsak's home selling team. And that makes it very difficult. If I ever exit, everyone's going to be like, well, where's Levi? But now here, there's no expectation. But so we speak to the person when they fall on our channel for the very first time. We want it to say value, 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 learn about living in Dallas. We want them to to get there, because if it's all about us, they may not like us, and they may jump off, or they may say, oh, here's another real estate agent trying to sell me a house. But we position it as an education piece, as a value-driven channel. And so people will get, they'll find more value in it for themselves. And we know the more they watch, the more the relationship they build with us, and they'll probably end up liking us by default, right? Because once you watch so many videos, sometimes even people you didn't like in the beginning, you tend to like towards the end, right? So it's funny, just because people, when they call us, they've already made the decision they want to work with us too. That's what I love about this, is we don't chase after people. We don't put in click magnets or downloadable guides or anything to capture anybody's information. We literally wait until they call us, because when they call us, they've made the decision they want to work with us, and they're usually within a very short time frame to make their purchase. So it shortens that as well. And we know people have told us they've watched our channel for a year, and then they called us, and then we ended up selling them a home within 30 days because they were ready. And they told us, man, we watched your channel for a year, but we waited until we were ready to call you. So that also cuts down our workload. And instead of chasing somebody down for a year, they literally call us whenever they're in their buying window. And it makes it a lot easier, a lot smoother. We don't have to sell anybody on working with us. We don't have to try to hard close anybody. I mean, you don't do that on a house anyways, but it's just a much better relationship because they come to us with the relationship already established, and it makes it so much easier. Plus, in video, like attracts like. And a lot of the clients that want to work with you that come from video will pretty much be like you. You'll have a lot of the same characteristics and personality traits. And you just know, right? When you watch somebody, you're like, I like that. I like that person, you just get it. So coming to us from the channel has been a game changer. They're the best clients to work with. They're the easiest, less trouble, no nightmare clients. They make decisions quick. It's just a whole different ballgame.
Levi, I feel like you and I could have another hour and still not cover everything that I want to ask you. So we'll definitely bring you on for a part 2, my friend. You are killing it. And I will have links to Levi's YouTube channels, his website, book, if he wants me to, in the show notes of this podcast for you guys to go check out. But I highly encourage you to go check out his YouTube channels and just take a look at what he's doing over there, because it's a very unique method and model, and he's doing it at such a high level. So Levi, thank you again for joining me today, and we really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dusty.
You've been listening to the YouTube Creators Podcast. We want to thank you and invite you to subscribe to the show, as well as support us on Patreon for great perks, such as having your YouTube channel featured on the show and a link on our website. Until next time, keep uploading those videos.